Hello, 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 Geek Out members. You can see that it is just me holding down the fort today. And don't worry, we are in for a treat. I have a couple comments in the Geek Out Facebook group that I really want to dive into. And then I want to make an announcement about our book club. So, for those of you who may be just joining us for the first time, my name is Andrea Peer. My fearless partners in crime, Susan Leonardson and Dan Heavey, are not able to join today. So it is just me, and we're going to dive into some really cool comments that came up in the Geek Out group. And then again, we're going to talk about the amazing book club that starts next week. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And if you are joining, please just drop a line, say hi. I'd love to see everybody who's on here. If you're coming into us from a replay, just go ahead and say #replay. And let's see. Okay, cool. It's starting to come in. Yay. Hi, friend. How you doing? You know, it's so funny. StreamYard is this weird, like, how do you actually see people? It's like you have to approve StreamYard in the group. Anyway, somebody smarter than me can one day help me figure out, because I see all these amazing comments. Hi, friend. Yay, book club. I'm gonna guess it's Madison. But if you want to drop your name too, that would be amazing. So I know who's all with me. All right. And sometimes I can see it through my phone. So I'm looking down to see if I can find that on the phone, but sometimes it takes a hot second for that to actually show up. All right. So let's dive into Frank posted, Frank Kenny, who's a member in our Geek Out group. He contributes a lot, and he asks some really great questions. And he posted one in particular that is just square in my the thing I love to geek out about. So I'm going to share my screen if you haven't seen it yet. Frank posted here, and let me blow that up because I know sometimes on big screen. There we go. So Frank says, I currently have a resource library of industry training videos, webinars, presentations, interviews, etc., and as a membership area in CF 1.0. I charge an annual membership fee and it works, but hundreds of videos in a resource library is kind of overwhelming and people don't watch, but a small percentage of them. Retention isn't that great. And then in CF 2.0, how would you organize and offer a video-based resource library? Okay, so Frank, I'm going to get geeky with you. So first, let's talk, geek formula. The first part is the customer journey part. So when you're making, I oftentimes talk about there's 6 different types of membership areas. And the type of membership area that you're talking about is what I call a reference library. And the reason why this is important is because the interaction elements that you would want to infuse into your membership area is dependent upon it being a reference library. As compared to if I was making a challenge membership area, right? Where I'm trying to get them to focus on this and then focus on this and then focus on this. And it's a lot of time concentration and motivation. And I want to single focus. And so I want to not put a lot of distractions in there. And I want to make sure that they know A, B, C, D, and it's going to get a win. As opposed to what you're building in a resource library, or what I call a reference library. How do people come into the space? Oftentimes, when people come into a reference library space, they're coming in with a set of keywords, or they're coming in with a set of I want to find, or they're coming in with maybe a symptom. So I did a membership area that had 200 videos that were mini videos that talked about, she was a chiropractor up in Canada. Her name is Dr. Krista Ryan, brilliant. And she had 200 little tiny chiropractic, homeopathic remedies. So how people were coming into it could be they have a problem, or it could be they're seeking a solution for, or it could be I have a part of my body, right, that I know about. Or it could be, hey, I know this key word because Dr. Ryan mentioned it, right? And so the first part in building a really awesome experience in a resource library is to think through what are the possible categories or keywords that people are going to be coming into your space for, okay? Once you know that, now we just look for an interaction model where we can help match that up together, right? And it could be as simple as, I'm going to give you some examples when I did hers. If you look on WebMD, let's just say WebMD, right? Because it could be similar, right? So I'm coming into WebMD, And as I come into WebMD, and we can totally break apart why this is not good. But when I'm coming into WebMD, you can see like they have categories, right? So this is like information architecture. They have categories for like, oh, this is the genre of what I want. So in a ClickFunnels membership area, Dan has a model. It's called the Ascension model, and I can pull it up here in a little bit. Where basically it is like there's parts of the body, and then basically you click on that, and then it only shows those lessons. So if you have like a one-to-one relationship with your video and your lesson, it only shows those lessons that have that information, right? So in the case of my chiropractor lady, she had 200 videos, but we had categorized across 18 different categories. So when people came in, they saw the pictures, right? And you could see what they were going for. And then you only show the videos that are associated with that. Okay, that's one way. And I know that you can do that at 1.0 with Dan's Ascension model. 2.0, I think we can do something similar. We would have to dive into having it at like a course level. Like we'd need to be thinking like course level, module level in order to have that. But I know also Dan is working on our ability to kind of cut through that levels of navigation so that you could have similar like images, right? Instead of like modules, like you think like modules are like the courses, the modules could be to the grouping that is for, right? That's one option. Okay. The second way to do it is through more like keyword search, right? Where it's like you have alphanumeric, and then I click on the alphabet letter of the keyword, right? And then all the things that might start with that alphanumeric are there. That's another option. And again, that would be in 2.0 and 1.0. We can do that through a series of hides and shows and cross references, right? Okay, so that's good. Now, you said that you had 200, or I think you said, what'd you say? You have a lot. I have a resource library of industry trainings. I'm going to guess that it's a lot. Yeah, you said hundreds of videos. So the other way to do it, and again, this is where we are still working in 2.0. And by we, I mean Dan and Susan and myself, to try to figure out how we would couple this into, or how we would do what we know we can do in 1.0 in 2.0. But in 1.0, what we have done is you can connect ClickFunnels with Airtable. So if you guys aren't familiar, Airtable is an online database. You can make an Airtable database that would basically be a reference library of all of your videos. So you might have the video title, and then you might have the metadata that's associated with those videos. And so then Dan has made in 1.0 where I can pull up a video, and any other video that has that same metadata can have a reference and say, hey, so it's kind of like the Amazon prefers, right? Like people who watch this video also like these ones. Or I could say, hey, on this page, go look at Airtable and render all of these videos. So, so we can do it that way too. But again, that's a 1.0 solution. Again, for all intents and purposes, we think we were going to maybe be able to do this in 2.0, but we're still learning if that's possible. So that's one way. And I'm almost wondering, Frank, as I say this too, you could come to the Geek Out on, the hot seat today. And we could go even deeper with Dan on that topic. Okay. The last thing that I would recommend in terms of, you had a really good question of retention isn't that great. And this is exactly what we see with reference libraries, because oftentimes, it's similar, like if you think about libraries, like we go to libraries, right? Because we have an inkling, or maybe we really love reading, but we come in, we're self-motivated, we come in and we learn. When we start to get into reference libraries, they're kind of like nice to have repository. It's not habit forming in any way. It's really, the retention part starts to get really hard unless you're always doing new content and or you're doing new publicity. So some models that I would have you look at is how might you be able to start to create almost like mini tracks with your training? Or how might you be able to gamify it in such a way where maybe there's a series of videos that are a combination that would have an overarching, like, hey, let's say that I really wanted to learn about ants. And so you might have 10 videos about ants, and I could get my ant badge if I watch all 10 videos. So it basically gamifies the more free reference library experience with a combination of videos. Those could be some ways that you can help increase retention, because now it's like, I know what progress looks like, and I'm not 100% on me to know what progress looks like. If you look at some of the best examples out there on this, is if you're familiar with Mindvalley. Mindvalley has started to do things like quests. So let me just log into my Mindvalley. So you can see here, Mindvalley is a reference library for all intents and purposes. They have big names and some not so big names. They come on, they do a series, but what they have started to do more, and especially if you're on your app, is they've started to give you quests. So like if I'm trying to do here we go, like getting started with Mindvalley, even in this, there's a series of quests, there's things I have to accomplish, there's action items whenever I watch the video. So there's a sense of progress every time that I'm going through and I'm working on it, right? So I would encourage in your reference library, how might you be able to create like little mini tracks or little mini series, so they know, hey, how do I know I'm done, or like, how do I know I'm progressing? So that could be one way to increase retention in a reference library model. The other way could be, and it's kind of similar, but it's a little bit of a twist. So if in the case of Masterclass, and I need to up my subscription on Masterclass, but if you're not familiar, this is another really good reference. So Masterclass is, they bring in leading experts in the world to give presentations, right? Really, really good. But it's a series. So it's, so here Alexis Ohania teaches building your startup. So in this, they have like a little trailer, and then they basically have, they've broken his really long training into little tiny snippets. And so it's more of like, hey, do, a couple minutes a day with Alexis, right? And so I now have, it's about the learning, right? It's about the learning, the exploration of learning on the thing. Another really good example that I would look at is Audible has some really interesting interaction around, like, you get points, like listen points and book time points. And so again, this is the concept of consumption. So if I'm consuming your content, then the identity I'm identifying with is that I am a learner of the thing that you have a reference library on, right? So in this case, in Audible, I want to be a reader. And so it measures like how much read time, like how much Audible time did you get today? And it tracks my progress on that, or how many books did I finish? So it could be something where it's like a consumption, right? And that consuming it connects me with an identity. So those would be some of the things with reference libraries that I've seen be really successful. The last one that I'll show, and this one honestly is not, I would imagine that retention is actually low, but I think probably the only saving grace with Growth Day, because when I come in here, I just continue to get access to leading leaders in their respective field. And so my motivation to stay is, I'm almost curious on like, who is he going to bring in next, and who will I have access to next, right? And then he has, for every single person in here, which again, I don't know if this relates to your content, but for every single person in here, they regularly talk about Growth Day in their email campaigns. So it's also helping to drive and encourage retention because of my relationship with the people that he's brought onto the platform. That is not nearly as sticky from a retention standpoint, but it is a strategy if your content connects to that. So anyway, those are just some examples when you're building a reference library of ways that A, you can make it a better user experience so they can actually find stuff and you can organize the content. And then B, people will retain. The last thing that I'll give you is, especially if you have hundreds of videos, I would put those titles and the category of those things into a database anyway, and you can start to run what's called information architecture research. So it could be things like, hey, if you were trying, let's say the problem that the human expresses, like, I'm trying to find stuff on this, or I would come here for that. You can start to run experiments to see if like the titles and the metadata that you have on your videos connects with the way people are actually talking and the words that they're using. That also is a huge saver. And then there's actually one more thing that I'll give you, and that is the video content itself, right? Nowadays with Amazon, and natural language processing, we see things like Searchy, which I don't want to throw another tool at you. And I'm really hoping that actually, I haven't had a chance to buy it yet, but Russell's announcement yesterday of the $49 a month on Zoomly, and with the Searchy tool, it allows you to actually look inside the content of the video itself. So if you just have a search bar, right, somebody can come in and they can be searching your content, and it'll basically search all of the words and all of the content inside of all of your videos and then connect you with the right videos. And so that's Stu McLaren's Searchy. And again, I need to go. I have not had enough time yet to play with Voomly to see if it has similar capability. But Voomly would be, or Searchy is the tool. Searchy. There we go. Searchy.io. So this one is Stu McLaren's. And so this is the one where you can load all your videos up in here and then it automatically has the search engine. Dan played with this for a really long time. It's kind of pricey, but it does allow you to upload your videos and then make your videos searchable. And then you can do a widget inside of a ClickFunnels membership area. So all of your videos are technically housed inside of Searchy, but there's a right side drawer that pops out that you can actually do a search on all of your videos, which makes reference libraries a lot more accessible. So, and that's also on ClickFunnels, FunnelFlix. If you were ever in there on the old version of it, they were using something similar. So those are just some ideas for you, Frank, on how you might be able to rethink your reference library. And again, if you want to come on to Hot Seat today, I'd be happy to dive deeper into like the technical, how would you do that? But those are just some ideas, and I'll make sure to tag you in this. I'll do it now. Hey, Frank, check out the live today, and I give you where I give you some ideas. Okay, cool. All right, so that is that. Some other things that are happening in the group that are just really exciting. So Frank, again, thank you for all of that amazing question. I love it. Let's see, some other really great questions. We're starting to see more and more builds, which is really fun. And just more announcements coming out of ClickFunnels. If anybody is not checking in with the Pulse updates, those are good, coming straight from Russell. So that's fantastic. That's his announcement of the Pulse. So those are, it's all just it's starting to take off a little bit more, which is really exciting. Okay, the last thing I want to make an announcement about today, and then unless anybody has any questions, you can post them and I'd be happy to address them. But the last announcement I want to make today is Susan posted something. If you haven't had a chance to look at it, we should just pin this post because it's so important. I'm going to do this to the newest. And Susan announced that we are starting our book club, which we're both really excited about. And we're going to be diving deeper into it. So if you want to join the book club, let me give you the details about that. So we are looking at the book club, and I think I'll make sure that this gets posted pinned at the top of our group. So we are looking to a book club. Okay, I will find that and post it. Let me show you this. We're starting the book club. It starts next week on the 14th. We're going to be meeting every Tuesday. And this is the general schedule that we're going to be going through. So week 1, we'll talk about .com Secrets first. Is the first book we're going to tackle. So if you guys haven't read it or you want to kind of dust off your knowledge on it and just geek out with other Geek Out members, we are starting that. If you want to join, we're going to go live into the Facebook group for the book club. If you are a part of the Geek Out Academy, you are welcome to join us behind the scenes. We're going to send out Zoom links to anybody who wants to join. If you are not a part of the book club or not a part of the membership, then you can still listen. We're going to go live and you can hear the conversation. You just won't be on the Zoom call with us. So that will be available. We're going to break down. We thought, hey, everybody's super busy, so how do we make it as bite-sized as possible and still leave room for discussion? So we have it mapped out from February 14th to May 23rd. That'll get us through the entire .com Secrets book, and then we'll start tackling more books. And so we have the whole plan there. And if you are interested in joining, the link to do that is CF 2.0 Geek Out join. www dot CF 2.0 Geek Out. Let's see if we can, if this works. We were just testing it yesterday. And then I will also drop it in the comments so you guys have that. And we would just love you guys to join. So there we go. You can join the Academy as soon as you join. We'll make sure that you get that Zoom link and you can join us on the book club. And plus you get all the other amazing things that are happening in the Geek Out Academy world, which we are doing some really big revamps, and we're very excited to roll them out to you guys. Susan and I had a couple hour planning session earlier this week and met with Dan, and we're all feeling really good about it. So I think what we have in store for you guys honors our commitment to continue to give you guys as much open and free resources as possible. But the thing that that you invest in is time with us, and so that we can all powwow and geek out together. And so we're going to continue to honor that, because that seems to be the things that you guys are asking for the most. So Geek Out Academy, if you want to join the book club, come into the www.cf2.0geekout.com/join, and that you can join the monthly membership. Join us on the Zoom calls, come geek out, talk through. Even if you just want to join for 2 months while we're doing the book club, that's great. We'd love to have you, and you'll get access to all the other things. And if you guys have any questions, of course, let us know. Otherwise, we will get that started next week on Tuesday. Last announcement that I have for you is Susan and I are going to be going through some pretty rigorous training next week and the week after with the one, the only McCall Jones. So we signed up for an amazing program with her, and we're very much looking forward to bringing that back to the Geek Out community. What we learn, and what arrives and what emerges from that training. So be watching for the next 2 weeks. Lots to come on that front. So yeah, and the cool thing is that audiobook is narrated by Russell. I know, so cool. It just connects you more with him, right? I love that too. And so yes, if you need the books or the audiobooks, of course, they're free plus shipping, great funnel technique. And so I'll drop that link as well. But all of those are there for you. So come with us, join us asynchronously, or come into the Geek Out and join us in the conversation. I cannot wait to geek out with you guys on these conversations and just kind of go back to the basics, especially with 2.0 merging and this new flood of people coming in. I think the time is needed for all of us just to level set back to the basics and the understanding of the core principles of what we all are attracted to and what we're building on. So really looking forward to talking with all of you guys on that front. So all right, that is it. Those are the 3 things for today. Keep posting into the Geek Out group. We'll be continue to reach out to everyone in there. And if you have any questions, we're always monitoring and trying to be as helpful as humanly possible as you guys do your venture into ClickFunnels 2.0, ClickFunnels 1.0, anything in the Geek stack, Geek mods. We love it all, and we love just geeking out with you guys. So on that note, have a wonderful Thursday. We will be on touch on Facebook, and yeah, thank you. Have a great day.